The Year in Review. Top stories of 2024 include the results of two San Bernardino County law enforcement operations, consequences, and smash and grab. Operation Consequences objectives are getting illegal firearms and illegal drugs off the streets and seeing to it that criminals responsible for both pay the consequences for their crimes. The operation's biggest drug bust took place the final week in November. In the biggest single-day seizure of drugs since Operation Consequences began a year ago, over 400 pounds of illegal narcotics were seized. In the joint operation conducted by investigators from the San Bernardino County Sheriff's Department, Gangs Narcotics Division, along with the Specialized Enforcement Division, deputies from patrol stations, Homeland Security Investigations, CHP, FBI, San Bernardino Police Department, Upland Police Department, and San Bernardino County Probation, 46 pounds of powdered fentanyl, 19 pounds of M30 marked fentanyl pills, 4 pounds of cocaine, 9 pounds of heroin, and 336 pounds of methamphetamine were taken off the streets. 19 felony arrests were made, and over 40 firearms were seized. In addition, $86,000 in U.S. currency was seized. As consequences, crackdowns continued, the total of felony arrests approached 1,500. Over 2,400 firearms have been confiscated, and drug seizures are staggering. 4 pounds of cocaine, 3,144 pounds of methamphetamine, 28 pounds of heroin, and 289 pounds of fentanyl have been seized. High desert locations have frequently been targeted for raids. In one operation involving Hesperia and Lucerne Valley locations, 22 felony arrests were made, 29 firearms were seized, 18 misdemeanor arrests were made, and 472 marijuana plants were recovered. And just this week, authorities raided a property on Honey Hill Road in Oak Hills and seized more than 90 pounds of marijuana, worth more than $100 million. Over the course of 2 days, the Marijuana Enforcement Team, San Bernardino County Code Enforcement, and California Fish and Wildlife Department seized 51 trucks of processed marijuana. The contraband was stored in a newly built metal building where over 3,000 trash bags were filled with processed marijuana, stacked over 12 feet high from end to end of the building. Operation Smash and Grab's latest operations include targeting the Victoria Gardens shopping center and retail stores in Apple Valley, Victorville, and Hesperia. Almost $7,000 in stolen goods was recovered. 12 felony arrests, 52 misdemeanor arrests were made, and stolen goods valued at $6,865.57 were recovered. The combined results of smash and grab operations over the past year bring to a total 185 felons arrested, 441 misdemeanor arrests made, and recovery of $218,562.11 in property. Operation Smash and Grab partners the Sheriff's Department with the California Highway Patrol and local law enforcement agencies to combat retail theft by placing undercover personnel at malls and retail centers. The tactics include establishing close contact with loss prevention managers in stores who alert investigators directly to target crimes in progress. Sheriff's Department personnel monitor parking lots surrounding the businesses, and a vehicle equipped with an automated license reader is deployed to detect stolen vehicles and vehicles associated with ongoing criminal investigations. A Joseph W. Brady top report from 2024.
This message is being recorded at the end of February to all the exclusive clients of Joseph W. Brady, Inc., DBA, the Bradco Company is the longest standing full service commercial industrial land brokerage company servicing the entire Mojave River Valley. So some of you might say Mojave River Valley. Well, the high desert doesn't have a very good connotation. So a group of us led by Eric Schmidt, that's with Squadron, and John Ohanian with Silverwood, decided it was time to bring a whole bunch of people together, and we changed the name. So it's like going from Sunnymead to Moreno Valley. I want to bring you up to date on a couple things. The market up here is not stagnant. The market's not broken. Interest rates are having an impact on deals. There's a little bit of pessimism within the economy. I think some people are very concerned about real inflation versus the disinflation that we're getting told by the feds. While inflation has come down, it hasn't stopped, and it is having a huge impact. So it's having an impact on people in markets like this. When groceries go up 27% over last year, it's definitely impacting. Our phones have not stopped ringing. People are still looking for deals, but I think what's happened, Terry, is there's so much sitting on the sidelines because cap rates are tied to interest rates, and they're waiting for those to come on down. You know, all the national commercial brokers. I don't care. I mean, I've been to lunch at the highest levels with CBRE. We've got great friends at JLL and Newmark Grubb. I mean, Newmark used to be called was Grubb and Ellis. Now it's Newmark, Marks and Millichap. All the top brokerages are off about 70%, 70 to 75% over last year and 2 years. So we're off like anybody else. Okay, anybody in my business that's not willing to admit that, they're not telling the truth. I mean, I've been doing this long enough. We've been out here for 35 years. We've done $950 million in sales and brought in $40 million in fee. But so the market is challenged, and we're still doing deals, but they're not as easy as they used to be. And I don't see that changing much this year. I do believe that the Fed will knock interest rates down a little bit because it's a political year, so you can read through, you can tell. It's like, I don't think that a lot of people are going to pay much attention to it. They don't pay attention to what goes on with the Attorney General's office, so I don't think they're going to spend much time with the Fed. I think so inflation is just kind of bumping along. Price of gas continues going up, which really has an impact on the commuters up here. Industrial market's very tight. The retail market's fairly tight. The apartment market's fairly tight. Single family vacancies are fairly tight. Homes developed. I think we did 1,300 permits last year. Okay, that's, I think, kind of now about where we're going to end up for a while. I think that could change when Brightline comes. But remember, we did 7,000 in 2007. And so we've been clipping along that 1,000 to 1,500 ever since then. And we're not back to 2007 levels of building permits. The Brightline project is totally approved. All the permits are in hand. $12 billion. They've raised $3.5 billion originally from the feds. They raised another $2 billion in bonds. They've sold over $2.5 billion. So they're about 50% of the way there. They're starting to do some work over on the Nevada side, surveying and things like that, utility relocations. So Brightline is an absolute game changer of the high desert Mojave River Valley region forever. I really suspect that we'll start to see some serious construction equipment out there in the next 9 months. Silverwood, probably the nicest piece of property that the high desert will ever develop, or the Mojave River Valley. 9,633 acres. Their model complex is now going to be open in March of 2025. They've moved well over nearly 50 million cubic yards of dirt. They have picked the 5 builders. They're 5 national builders. One of them is a private, 4 public. So as John said to me, Ohanian, who's with Terra Verde, is with DMB development. Sticks will be in the air. Everything will be framed by December this year, and the models will be open by March of next year. I will tell you this: DMB, who's the master developer over Terra Verde, is the largest in the country. They know more about master plan communities than anybody. Every one of these homes will be hardwired with 1 gig of memory for the internet, so it's going to be a real smart community. So if you want any other information, go to www.silverwoodca.com, I think. It's just a great project. Ranchero, they continue to expand that and widen that, and spending $55 million. That's supposed to be done, I think, by the end of the year. The I-15 construction from Oak Hills, Bear Valley, that's going to be done by the end of the year. That's $125 million. The industrial market is real healthy. It's very tight. You've got a lot of the major players coming in here. So we have 30 million feet on the ground right now in the 5 incorporated cities. We have a very low vacancy factor. There's about 85 million feet of space going through the entitlement sectors, through Hesperia, Apple Valley, Adelanto, Barstow. You got Southern California Logistics Airport, used to be the former George Air Force Base. When the announcement came in December 27th of 88, and they padlocked it on December 27th of 1992, we lost 10,000 jobs, civilian and military. So it means, civilian military. According to Mr. Camargo at the City of Victorville Economic Development Department and Eric Ray, they brought back about 4,700 jobs. Pretty exciting. You also, for those of you that don't know, Prologis is the largest industrial developer in the world. 1.2 billion square feet of space that they control, 19 countries. They control SCLA with the City of Victorville. They're doing a great job. They just signed a 1,400,000 square foot distribution deal. I won't say what it is, but they did tell me, but in confidence. You got that. Apple Valley's doing real well. They got some real exciting things coming. Sprouts is coming in and out there. Raising Cane's coming in and out there. Our Sprouts in Victorville is due to open here real soon. I understand maybe Raising Cane's is maybe going into Victorville here. I know Chick-fil-A is looking for another site because they've done so well on up here. They're probably looking somewhere down along Main Street. Then you've got Barstow and the Gateway project, the Barstow International Gateway, which is the Burlington Northern 4,500 acres. They're going full task. They have their first environmental input meeting on March 13th out at the city. We will be out there. I'm proud that we were able to help Lewis Acquisitions, part of the old Lewis Homes, Lewis Retail Group, put them into 1,220 acres out there, an exclusive negotiating agreement with the city. City's been actually wonderful to deal with. The staff, they do have a new city manager. They have an interim city manager, Andrea Espinoza. He's a temporary. He's the police chief, but he's also the temporary city manager. Willie Hopkins moved from the city to city of Compton. So I think that with some of the issues going on with the council, he had just kind of had enough. Burlington Northern's moving ahead. So, at the end of the day, there's a lot of this indecision. I think the presidential election is going to clear that up. But at the end of the day, the market is still rather healthy. It's just tough to do deals. Otherwise, Terry, I really do see some great stuff coming in out there. I also want to close and just say things at Victor Valley Community College are wonderful. I'm proud to be starting my 4th year as president of the Board of Trustees. I've been there since 2011. We're the fastest growing community college in the state of California. Our attendance is up 50% in the last 2 years. We're breaking and shattering records. We got a brand new educational conference center that will be opening up here in the next couple of months. It will host all kinds of events, $36 million well spent. We have 100 programs out there. We're being led by Dr. Daniel Walden, who will probably end up going down as the longest tenured president we ever have. We just gave him a brand new 4-year contract, well deserved. Has a great wife, Wendy, a great team of people, and Dr. Scott and Dr. McKenzie and Art Lopez. He just built a great team. So things at the college are not only clicking well, but when you have 100 programs doing as well as we are, and you're seeing the kind of growth that we are, that also has a connection to not only graduating students, but hopefully them staying here locally and becoming a part of the local workforce. So we're pleased about that. So.
Joseph W. Brady reflects on 2023, projects what's ahead in 2024.
Well, Terry, I think everybody would agree that 2023 has been a rather interesting year. No matter what political side you're on or where you live, for the first time ever in California, weather forecast shows a potential tornado in Ventura County the other day. We've never had tornadoes out here. So, I think with, interest rates have been high. I think there's a big divide in our country. I think that I saw a headline the other morning in the Daily Press that was rather interesting where, people are really wondering where our democracy's going. The real estate market has been tough. Interest rates have had a huge impact on cap rates and valuations of buildings on up here. The industrial developers right now are processing about 85 million square feet industrial space. So that's about 15 million down in Hesperia, over 20 million, surprisingly, in the city of Atlanta. Prologis and Southern California Logistics Airport, they just keep clicking at a couple million square feet. They just signed a 1.3 million square foot deal. I had lunch with one of the with Tyson Chase the other day. He gave me the name, but I won't want to release it. Apple Valley's got 30 million feet. Barca's got about 5 million feet, and then you've got the project with BNSF. So I think the industrial market's looking real healthy in the future. Ken Shear and his partners, Milikovich with Covington, they're now out of that 232 acres down there in Caliente. So those buildings have now been fully leased. So that they've got their project up on Caliente off of 395 in Main Street. They've got a 2 million square footer laid out. I don't think they're going to do spec. So I think there's a little bit of caution on the industrial side. On the residential side, we're still having conversations with some very serious, well-known builders. We've got a great property that we've been blessed to represent, Strata Investments out of San Diego, on a 664 acre specific plan property out in Apple Valley. It's the only piece of land that I can remember in Southern California. It has the topography with it that it does, the views that it has, and I think that now the town may be looking at how we can maybe increase some of the density, move some of the density around that we have there. So the residential market's not dead. Silverwood's moving full speed ahead. They've got 5 builders picked. One of them, I will say, there's a builder now that has really, I think, validated the housing market on up here, and that's Lennar. So Lennar, depending upon what list you look at, is typically either number 2 or 3 in the country, and they're an upscale builder. They do a great job, and they just bought, I believe, 191 lots from Jim Previty and Frontier down off of Ranchero. And I believe I've also heard rumors that they're probably going to be one of the builders down in Silverwood. So that really validates the market on up here. I mean, I remember when I first took a look out here in 1986, Inco Homes was the primary builder. I think there were like 3 builders out here, and that was it. I mean, Ira came out here in the late 70s and pioneered the $49,000 home behind where now the mall is. But so I think that that's good. Retail, I've had a couple retail tours in the last 60 days that I did not expect. I had 2 gentlemen that are incredibly well known. One had worked for Rick Caruso for 20 years, and one of them had been a major developer and worked in the major development. I mean, malls for like General Growth and things like that. They were out for a tour. I have a tour on Saturday the 23rd, which is 2 days before Christmas. I wasn't expecting to do it. And this company is looking at doing something out here that nobody's ever done, and it's not an industrial, it's not an office deal. I think it's more of a kind of an entertainment deal. So as we look in the rearview mirror, 2023 was tough. I mean, if you look at the headlines, in all the real estate, publications, Colliers, JLL, Newmark, CBRE, earnings are off 50%, 75%. The Marks and Millichap, lost $8 million in one quarter. We were actually under contract with Marks and Millichap until March 13th, and when Silicon Valley Bank, blew up, they blew out, and so we didn't do that deal. We may do that deal again in the future. So I think 2023 is wholly behind us. 2024, I think, is going to be a great year. But I do say this. I think that politics are going to play heavy into 2024. If the deals make financial sense, people are still going to go ahead. But if they're kind of sitting on the sidelines, they're going to say, well, let's see who our president is, because I think our country wants more stability. We're obviously really divided. Interest rates, I think, are going to flatten out. I think the Fed's going to do what they can to slightly reduce them. I don't see them coming down 1.5 next year. I think it's election year. I think multifamily across the country has done really well. I think that's going to slow down a little bit. The state still needs 3.5 million housing units in the state, but you can't afford to process them. Industrial has slowed down, I think, in the Inland Empire, but there's still a good market down there. So there's still people moving around. I mean, we're still getting plenty of calls. So I'm optimistic about what I see. You got 5 cities out here. They're all fairly pro-growth. I think they've got really good leadership. I think they got good stability. I want to give a shout out to Liz Becerra, who's now the new mayor of Victorville. Congratulations, Liz. So I think we have some great times. I will say this. I think that now that Bright Line has gotten their, I call it the down payment. So they got a $3 billion grant from the Biden administration. And that's a big kickoff. I think the number now that they're using, that they're publishing, that's a $12 billion project. I think that that's more real. So we happen to know one of the contractors that will be doing one of the jobs. And what they said to me recently, they probably won't be pushing dirt for 6 to 9 months. There's still a lot of things that have to be done. I mean, there's utilities that have to be relocated along, I-15, the construction route 8, the speed train. And I have said all along, it's a game changer. So I want to take my hat off to Art Bishop. Art has been the chairman of the San Bernardino County Transportation Authority. I think he's really taken upon himself to follow Bright Line. He's probably been the biggest advocate for it. He's obviously the biggest cheerleader out here, and I'm excited for it. I think that for younger generations that want to raise a family on up here, it's exciting. I think if I want to live in Silverwood, all I'd have to do is drive down Ranchero Road and go on up and park my car where 395 and I-15 is and get down below. I think it's a game changer. So, BNSS moving forward, the Bright Line is moving forward, Prologis is moving forward, Silverwood. I think we've got some great times ahead of us. So.
Joseph W. Brady addresses the infrastructure crisis in the high desert region, the Mojave River Valley.
So, Terry, let me take you back 3 or 4 Mondays. So this video is being done for a couple people, and we'll share it with others. But the 3 primary people that we're going to send this to is Senator Scott Wilkes, Senator, my good friend, Assemblyman Tom Lackey. So Tom oversees the assembly district that I live in, and our new assembly member from the Palmdale area, who he picks up Palmdale, Little Rock, Lake Los Angeles, Sun Village, and he picks up part of Adelanto and Victorville, and that's Assemblyman Juan Carrillo. So we have a problem out here in the high desert region, Mojave River Valley, and I don't think that the issue is any different in Assemblyman Carrillo's area. So to kind of go back in time, I moved from Santa Barbara, California on Friday, May 13th, 1988, and I moved here at 2:45 in the afternoon. And part of the reason I moved here at 31 years old was water was the controlling deal in Santa Barbara, and quite candidly, I couldn't make a living. So in a report came out that was dated in 1989, and it was the then, it was called the Phase 2 Final Report, Victor Valley Infrastructure Enhancement Program. And it was commissioned by John Joyner, who was the chairman of the San Bernardino County Board of Supervisors and was the first district supervisor. So he went through and put this report together, and at the time it said that it was like 1.2 billion or 1.3 billion in infrastructure. This is in 1989. So that was parks, water, sewer, roads and things like that, libraries and things like that. Well, so we saw what happened with George Air Force Base. That closed, and that stopped any money from being spent really between 1990 and about 1999. And then we went through this great expansion when our state government still had redevelopment agencies, so there was tax increment coming, and the cities could use some of the tax increment for projects that they felt on infrastructure. And then Governor Jerry Brown took that $5 billion away. So we've got a great problem here. I'll tell you candidly why. We have no leadership out here. I know everybody that's an elected official. They know me, and they know I call it the way it is. If they like it, great. If they don't, they don't. I'm not worried at 66 years old, having been out here for 35 years. We've almost done $1 billion in commercial real estate. We brought in a fair amount of income and fed a lot of families. I'm deeply concerned that we have 3 great projects right now, 2 actually. The third one, that infrastructure will take care of itself, that we are not prepared for this. So we talk about we want growth out here. We welcome growth out here. We have five very pro-growth cities. We have 5 pro-growth councils, the majority of them. We have a council member here and there that's not. But we are not prepared. So what's the deal? We have hopefully the Bright Line speed train that will hopefully be funded this year in 2023. And that's anywhere from a 4 to 5 year project. It's anywhere from an $8 to $10 billion project. And it's anywhere from creating 30 to 40,000 construction jobs. My question to the 3 of you, where are those people going to live? Okay, so in our portion of the high desert here, I can tell you that on single family rentals, the vacancy rate is probably less than 1%. And the landlords are doing really well. If you go into the multifamily market, you take a look, it's about 1% as well. So just Bright Line alone, what's that going to do? Well, then we have another positive development with Burlington Northern Santa Fe coming into Barstow. So they have purchased 4,000 to 4,500 acres of the inner port that they're going to build. They're building it between Linwood Road and Hinckley Road, right off of Route 66, Main Street, whatever you want to call it, National Trails Highway. And that is going to create 22,000 jobs. Those are 22,000 permanent jobs. And they're going to be good jobs. Question is, where are these people going to live? So our roads are not ready. Our sewer lines are not ready. Our water lines are not ready. Our parks are not ready. And as a society on out here, if we want to raise the bar for people, how are we going to do it if we don't have the infrastructure? Look how thick this infrastructure report is. And I can tell you this thing weighs at least 10 plus pounds. So when I recorded this segment, a segment very similar to this, back probably about 3 months ago, I challenged our 5 city managers. I sent this video to 5 city managers, and I asked Nils Benson, I asked Keith Metzler, I asked Jesse Flores, I asked Doug Robertson, and I asked Willie Hopkins, who would like this binder to borrow to take a look at infrastructure? And the only one that responded was Keith Metzler. Okay, and I know them all. Now I'm not pointing fingers, but when I say to you we are divided, it's not a question. This is Joseph Brady's idea. This is our problem. So I'm sitting here today with Terry Kurtz and his son Robert. You know, Robert is a lot younger than I am. He's less than half my age, and he's going to have to deal with this. How are people going to get down Bear Valley Road? I mean, we don't have the freeway system that we once envisioned. We don't have the high desert corridor that we talked about. At one time, many years ago, I remember there's a loop system that took 138 around, and then it would wrap around. It would be kind of like on a miniature scale what they've done over in Vegas. They've done a great job over in Vegas. They've done really a great job down there in Phoenix. So, you know, many of you know, or you don't know, I'm trying to build a custom home in Prescott, Arizona. And so when you're driving around these cities, you take a look and say, wow, they really prepared themselves. So why don't we prepare ourselves? So let me cut to the chase. We will help you identify through your staffs. We obviously know we have 5 city councils. We have 5 planning commissioners in each one. We have the Mojave Water Agency, I think the best run water agency around. Assemblyman Tom and Assemblyman Juan, I hate to tell you, but I think that we're running a whole lot better than AVEK, which is the Antelope Valley East Kern, which is a good group. We have the Mojave Desert Air Quality Management District. They run both areas. We have Victor Valley Community College, okay, I think would help facilitate this lunch. We have a great chef out there. I would suggest that, you know, we invite the top, 10 civil engineers and architects and commercial brokers and industrial contractors and residential contractors, and really have a discussion amongst the cities and the different municipalities on what are we going to do. How this is not going to magically appear. And I think that you're all looking, going, wow, yeah, I think, and it's not like we can wake up tomorrow and hope that it's here. I want to close and just thank you for taking the time to watch this, and I look forward to hearing from you in the very near future.
This special edition of TKOL, Top Stories of 2024, is brought to you by Down Home Grill, serving nutritious and delicious budget-saving weekly specials. Bid Fast and Less, world-class auctioneers. Solid quality truck body, family-owned and operated since 1954. The Bradco Companies, our area's longest-standing full-service commercial brokerage firm. Ewanzak Law Firm, trial lawyers for serious problems. We Got 'em Tees, your headquarters for custom screen printing and mastercraft embroidery design. And by the Holiday Inn in Victorville, the Holiday Inn, Conference and Convention Center for the High Desert, and destination of choice of visitors and travelers to the Victor Valley. That's a wrap on this edition of Terry Kurtz Online. On behalf of Victor Valley Television Productions, thank you for watching. We hope to see you again next time around.